It's kind of weird too, is that for me, all of these things go in together: spirituality, aliens, ghosts, and all that stuff is all part of the same thing. And other people, they're all, not everybody, I'm not talking about everybody, I'm just talking about another spectrum across from me, which has a lot of people who are in that gray area over there. They don't believe in any of that stuff. Like, they're just beginning to realize that there's aliens. They're just like, there's so many things that they don't know. Like, they think ghosts are scary, aliens are scary, everything. Yesterday I saw a thing, and it was the title was something about somebody saying, I don't know, there's 200,000 alien species. I didn't watch the thing or whatever. I don't even know what it was. I see a lot of headlines. And it just made me start thinking that I think that we're kind of missing, like, every bug. Like, we can see weird bugs. Like, yesterday we saw one. It was like this green, light green, see-through, like iridescent. It was really cool looking, a little bug with these weird, long, spindly legs and long antenna. It was really cool looking, but it looked very alien. And so we were talking about and right when we saw that one, it just was, weirdly enough, we were talking about this bug out at my mom's place by the lake. And it looks like an alien. And then my daughter was like, look at this one. And it looked like an alien. But that's what I think, is that we are kind of missing the idea that all of these species, which are alien to us, are actually creatures living in existence and having an experience and becoming a part of nature, connecting with nature, or whatever it is that they're experiencing in whatever form, you know? And I think that's the part of the 200,000, millions different species, is because everything that has energy, everything that has some type of consciousness, like the dogs have consciousness, but they don't have the same type of consciousness as, well, some humans, but, more and more are starting to have a more clear awareness of their abilities with their consciousness and stuff. And dogs are like little slaves. We're breaking away from that, but we have been little slaves for other people. And I just kind of saw, like, dogs being like little jesters and dancing around the room to make us happy when we're sad, coming up and kissing us and licking us when we feel bad. But, that's basically their role. And then they get their little, smidgen of food. Some people give them horrible food. And, that's all they get. And a lot of them get smacked around and kicked and everything. Ignored, left alone all day. And they really are just little characters. They have real consciousness. Like, you can communicate with them, and you can listen to them communicate with each other. That is what I think is really cool. And so I think that when we start seeing every other creature as being its own independent being, just not an extension of us. I don't even really know, like, how some people look at the world and nature to not see, its value. I feel horrible if I even kill a bug. Like, what right do I have to take away someone else's life? So, and no matter how insignificant the life is, it's their life, you know? They're the ones who are animating that experience for themselves. So, I don't know. I just think that there's important things of us learning to accept one another. And I don't think it's by accident that there's so much stuff during this transition that's coming up about race and division and stuff, and how much it's been used to keep us divided, but also how much people need to look in the mirror at themselves of accepting one another. Like, the race thing is just an example, because there's so much judgment and stuff going on right now with people, and all the different groups judging one another. I mean, I've judged the spiritual people who are out there saying you aren't going to raise your vibration if you don't turn vegan and stuff like that. Because I feel like 100% you have to follow what's inside your heart. You can't follow what's inside someone else's heart, or you're just following them, and then you're attaching to them. You're attaching outcome to them. You're attaching, your feeling about yourself to someone else. They're in charge of it now. So, yeah, I'm not willing to do that anymore. I feel like that was part of the sleeping life of a human, but that's not a part of the awake consciousness of a human. I don't want to have, I want to be independent. I want to think for myself. I want to go and take care of things for myself and make my own decisions, you know what I mean? And learn for myself and accept myself in the learning process. Like, just because, like your whole family's turned vegan and everybody tells you, the philosophy behind it and why they did or whatever, that still doesn't mean that you need to go and turn around and do it. That's following the pack. That's bullying people into being like everyone else. That's what we're breaking free from. So, no, you got to follow your own internal instincts. And if you're supposed to stop eating meat in this life, you'll stop eating meat. You don't, what you need to focus in is on your gratitude and, just noticing the miracles around you. Just today, so many times I had the radio on and I've been doing stuff around the house, and I was cutting something and I needed to sharpen the knife, and I'm walking out and I'm going in to sharpen it, and this song comes on saying sharpen the knife. I keep saying sharpen the knife, and then I was doing something else, and whatever it was I was doing, that it started saying it. There's magic all around us. And, how much of it that we are, do I have that much control? I haven't learned about that yet. I don't know. Am I thinking I need to sharpen the knife and I'm somehow transmitting a song into the TV to say what I'm doing? Because it keeps happening all the time. I don't know. I mean, I've seen some things and I understand some things throughout my awakening, but I don't understand all things. There's things for us all to start trying to figure out and understand. But I know that we need to accept that there's some people who are starting way back in, way back. They're just now going to be going through the dark night of the soul. When, if we consider this transition period to be like the last 20 years or so, which that is almost to 2012, isn't it? No, that would be 10 years, because 2012, that would only go back 10 years. Yeah, the 20s have got me all messed up. Now it's going to be 2021 and then 2022. So 2022 would still only be 10 years. So, but still, I don't know how far back it goes. Like, I'm sure there was people going through the dark night, but I know for sure 6, 8 years ago, there was people on YouTube talking about how to get through the dark night of the soul. So there's people who were starting to have this spiritual enlightenment start happening to them. But I think it's been happening little bits by little bits to people for a really long time. Now it's just really picking up speed. But that's why I think that those of us who had gone through it before, there was a reason. The reason is to help the other ones get through it. Because it was really, really hard to get through that stuff, And, so I think that's why. I think we're all here to help each other, and that this stuff that's happening, which we're still, waiting to see how's everything going to play out or go down. But I do believe that we're all here to unify and help each other in all different ways. So, I don't know. It's weird to know like what's coming. Like you don't know how it's going to play out. Like you don't know. I talk about this a lot, but you don't know like exactly how it's going to play. You don't know the rocks in the path and how many branches will be down or anything like that. But you know where you're going. You know what's at the end of the trail. And so it's trippy to watch all of this play out. And I think it's exciting, but yeah, some of this stuff has been so completely different than what I would have thought. I never, ever would have thought that we would go till June in America with a regime. Like, what the fuck? All the time, first grade, second grade, standing there pledging the allegiance, oh, and how important it was. And then I remember there was a part where they started tearing down the flag, like the flag became, nobody wanted anything to do with it. It became kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't represent anything. I mean, it just represents more fighting. But all of that, then when you start seeing it was all done and part of the manipulation to detach us from having any kind of allegiance to any kind of human rights, because the Constitution is all based on human rights. So the more that they could keep us detached from, what this country was built on. Luckily, we have this one, I guess, country here who has built their mission statement on human rights, but it is going to ripple out. Like that's going to be the beautiful thing. It's not going to just be for us in America. This freedom is going to just ripple out for everyone on the whole planet. All the things that bothered me when I was a little kid, like how can there be a God and people starving in Africa? Like, oh, this makes no sense. How can it be a God who would put a little kid in hell who has never even heard the name Jesus? Like, there was all this stuff that was like so confusing to me about the religion stuff that I was hearing. And, all the time that when I was thinking about that person and, the pain and suffering on this planet, and, I just didn't make any sense to me. And, now it all makes so much more sense. Everything makes so much more sense now to me. But, yeah, they're just, I don't know, the whole thing with the religion and having to detach from it, but and it's all just filled with so many lies. But still, I kind of forgot what I was saying. It's always obvious, I think, when I kind of forget, because then it's like, what was I talking about? It was something about, I don't know. Something about when I was a kid and the manipulation that they said about God. Oh, and not being able to understand. And now we're going into those times where there won't be people starving. There won't be people going without. There won't be people who are homeless and stuff. And that is what I find super, super exciting, is because those things bothered me so much when I was a kid. Oh my gosh. I've talked about before. I mean, you didn't eat dinner without having to hear about the kids in Africa who were starving. And then, Sally Struthers, she was always bringing those starving kids on TV, those starving little kids with their big bloated bellies, and just was so sad. And their sad little eyes, and they always had flies on them. It just drove me so, I just couldn't understand how can people think that why would they worship this person who would do this if this is what they think? Why would they think that he's worth worshiping? It took a long time to start realizing about the benefit of going through hard times And, oh, and that was another thing that I was talking about this morning. So I'm going to do another one real quick. Hopefully that wasn't too rambly. But I don't know. That's what I do. I have a brain injury, so I have an excuse, I guess. Oh, there was something else I was thinking about that the other day. I don't know. Something with the 40 first dates or whatever, like how I think it was probably a conversation because I keep getting told how to fix things. So it must have been some conversation. I don't think it was something I was saying on here. Anyways, I want to talk about this other thing. So I'll be back in a sec.